Everybody, thanks for watching. Now, it's crazy for people to say that racism doesn't exist. A lot of people are looking at the situation that has been going on and saying that black people are just claiming racism because white people are basically pointing out what they see from the black community. Now, all you have to do is go to the YouTube comment section and look at certain videos and you can see that racism is clear and well and alive. You know, today in 2017, about to be 2018, racism clearly still exists and it is promoted and it is shown throughout the media every single day. We see it all the time. So, we can point out racism, period. The simple fact that we have a KKK and neo-Nazi groups and people who have this ideology who believe the stereotypes of typical black people are true, that we all kill each other, we murder each other, we all sell drugs or what have you. These are people who want to believe the racist narrative that has been pushed from mainstream media. Racism is alive and well. It exists. We all know this. Anybody who is being true to themselves and real with themselves can see clearly that people are still racist. We understand this. You go to the South, we see it. We have seen so many videos of people shouting racial slurs, of people screaming at black people negatively, calling black people derogatory names. And a lot of the claims from a lot of these people are them just, voicing their opinion about black people in general. Now, when you say that, black on black crime, black people kill black people steal, black people sell drugs, this is a broad statement that we get from a lot of white people implying that all black people do these things. Everybody steals. Everybody commits murder. These are crimes we see from every race of people across the world. These people go to the statistics all the time and they say that, well, statistics show that 95% of black people that are killed by other black people. And what does this have to do with the murder of unarmed black people, of innocent people? What does statistics have to do with that fact? What does some dude killing another dude in another state have to do with the innocent black person being killed in another state? How do you make that connection? Now, when we point to the statistic that show that 71% of police murder in America are murdered by white men, this is a statistic that they want to ignore. It's ignored, it's brushed off. And a lot of people just revert back to, well, what about black on black crime? What about the crime in the black community? Now, people are just using this whole statistics crap to justify their racism, period. A lot of people don't care about the truth and the facts. They want something to justify them having hateful thoughts against black people. They want to justify their racism. And this is why they turn to these stats that they cannot prove are true. Everybody looks to the news and say whatever the news say has to be true because the news said it. It's bullshit. You have people speaking out against unarmed people being killed, against innocent people being killed, innocent kids, teenagers. I don't agree, as I have said before, I don't agree with the whole Black Lives Matter slogan because it creates separation. The same separation we've seen today is creating division because all you're going to have is white people say, well, what about white people being killed more than black people? We are being killed too. White lives matter as well. And the whole thing is, yeah, you people have been killed by cops, but where have you been? Why haven't you been protesting, marching about so many white people being killed by cops, wrongfully so, if all the cases was wrongfully so? We have been protesting against police brutality in America for decades. Decades. Where have you been? We see on the media black people being beaten by cops, dogs sicked on black people, hoses, black people being shot to death. You had absolutely no clue that more white people was being killed by cops than black people until they created this stat so that you'd be in opposition to black people protesting against black people being killed by cops. Plain and simple. You had absolutely no clue about this stat and that it existed, or else you would be protesting. How convenient this stat starts to come out and starts to surface at the same time black people are protesting against black people being killed. Because if Black Lives Matter didn't exist and they kept bombarding the media If the whole circulation of this stat of white people being killed more than black people was put out there first, before Black Lives Matter, you would see an uproar of white people protesting against them being killed by cops. Has the news media been bombarding the airways, bombarding people with stories of white cops or black cops killing white people? Has it been an epidemic? Has it been a whole huge topic that we have been, flooded with of stories of innocent white people being killed by cops? No. We have only seen stories of black people being killed by white cops. So how the hell could you be mad that black people are protesting against them being killed by cops when this is all we have been seeing? This is all they have been showing. It's crazy. So even when you have black people saying Black Lives Matter, it's justified because this is what we're seeing. So you can understand how we was baited, how this whole thing is a trap, and how we was baited into this whole line of protesting so that we have a whole opposition, a whole people in opposition to people saying that our lives matter. So now you have the All Lives Matter slogan coming, being in opposition to Black Lives Matter, so people can argue and, spew their hate and racism. It's a setup. It was a setup from the start. How convenient. The slogan is speaking to black people, and we have been seeing only black people slaughtered on TV. Kids' bodies laying in the street. Teenagers shot by cops. And we're not supposed to protest about that. It's ridiculous. So even when Kelly Thomas was beaten to death by cops, black people was there to support his family. Black people was there to protest. Black people was there to say Black Lives Matter, all lives matter as well. Of course, we agree that all lives matter. So this whole opposition, as I said before, to Black Lives Matter, to black people speaking out against police brutality, is racist people ranting and raving about themselves being racist. I don't want to deal with these people. Plain and simple. There's no need to even engage these people because they don't want to hear the truth. They don't care about it. Decades we have been seeing police brutality, screaming out about it, and people have ignored us. Now when the media finally puts the whole light, the cameras at us when we are protesting this stuff and put it out there, because we have social media now all of a sudden it's a problem. How can anybody be in opposition of a person saying stop killing innocent people? It's crazy. It makes you wonder if we was protesting stop killing white people, how much support we would get. So as I said, people are using the whole black people killing black people crap as a cop-out. A cop-out for their racism, plain and simple, because we have been seeing the same type of racism for decades in America. Long before it was black on black crime, long before it was a crack epidemic, long before hip-hop, long before mainstream media was destroying our image, we have been seeing racism towards black people. So what's the excuse? How is that any different today than back then? When we were seeing the same type of racism from white people, despite all the so-called black on black crime. It's a cop-out, it's bullshit. So when these people say, what about black on black crime? They are implying that why are we not protesting when black people kill black people? Why are we not marching when black people kill black people? Why is it not mainstream news, media, when black people kill black people? And that's because you don't live in a black community. You don't live in a black neighborhood, so you don't know what goes on in the black community. You don't understand that anything that black people do that shows them in a different light other than what mainstream media wants you to think about us, it will not be broadcast. You have continuous marches in the black community about black on black crime. It's not broadcast, only on local TV in that state or in that city, or not at all, mostly not at all. There are always marches about black on black crime in the black community. There are always protests about black on black crime in the black community. There are community centers geared towards stopping black on black crime in the black community. It's not so much black on black crime, it's poverty, period. It doesn't matter what color you are. If poverty exists, there will be crime. So poverty is what we should be against, not black people. That's easy to see. Now, I know for a fact in Philadelphia, we have every single year, we have picnics, a Stop the Violence, Increase the Peace picnic. I know my best friend, his aunt's a cop. She is one of the people who organized it every year in Philadelphia. They have it in many different places, in many cities, so-called inner cities, where they have a lot of things geared towards stopping violence in the black community. No matter how many picnics we throw, no matter how many protests we have or marches we have, this is an economic problem that is not going to be fixed unless something be done by people that's in higher positions than black people. So when we march and we protest to this government system saying, hey, you have the power to do something to fix the economic problem in the black community, and nothing is done, what do you expect to happen? So a lot of people don't understand this because they don't live in a black community. They don't understand the economics. And they don't want to understand what's going on. They only see what they have been programmed to see. And this is what we're talking about. So when you have a Colin Kaepernick taking a knee, when you have people taking a knee and protesting and putting up a fist and just speaking out against what we have been seeing, this is what we are talking about. Point to me and show me the opposition to white power from black people in America. What is going on? It don't exist. You have a KKK, neo-Nazis, just racist people. You have these same people in positions of power who are police officers, judges, politicians who exist and who create laws and do things to hinder black people and to stop black people from any kind of progress. But we are not supposed to protest about this stuff. This is something that a lot of black people talked about. And you have to understand that a lot of black people are almost hostages in their own community. A lot of black people would love to stop the drug dealing and the violence in the black community. A lot of white people, because you do not live there and understand what goes on there, you don't understand how it's dangerous and how stuff really is. Because while you want to do the right thing for your neighborhood, it doesn't matter when you have people that'll kill you if you speak out. And if you watch First 48, you see there's a lot of people who speak out. Most of those dudes get caught because they get snitched on. Believe it or not, it's a lot of people in jail because they've been snitched on. So don't try to make it like, oh, black people, y'all have this code and we just not telling on each other. Bullshit. There's a lot of people telling. There's a lot of black people putting other black people in jail behind the shit that they doing. That's a fact. But it's not going to be put out there. The negative part is going to be put out there, and it's not going to be shown that black people are behind solving a lot of these cases in the black community that detectives would be stuck on or would just push under the table because they don't give a shit. There's a lot of black people who have solved cases by picking up the phone. It's a fact. You'll call them snitches or what have you. But this has been done. And you have seen this, but it's not going to get recognized. People are only going to want to believe what they want to believe. And when you have the news media who basically puts out the information to the masses of people, pushing this narrative, what do you expect people to take in? They're taking in only the negative, none of the positive about black people and what really goes on in the black community. You have to look at this system and point to the system and understand where it has flaws, where people are divided and people are divided into classes, wealthy and rich and middle class and what have you. We all know about this. But if you don't understand what real poverty is, and when you also have a system that's hindering you from moving up economically, then you're not going to see why it's a problem in the black community. And don't sit there and say that that's all bullshit and this stuff is not happening when you done had so many politicians stand before the Senate, stand before Congress, have a lot of meetings, have a lot of speeches about what this government has done to hinder the black community. And I pointed this out with the whole video on Elizabeth Warren, the whole speech she gave about exactly that, about how laws was created to hinder black people. So don't make it like we just being lazy and not trying to move up, when historically the system has put things in our way to make sure that we can't move up. It's crazy. And if you don't look for this stuff, if you only believe in what the mainstream media is putting out there for you to take in, of course you're going to be racist. Of course you're not going to like black people. Like I said before, if I only believe in seeing or got my information about black people from mainstream media, I would probably be racist too if I was white. I would hate them because I look and see how they portray us. And then when you look and see how hip hop music backs all this stuff up and how the whole hip hop culture backs this stuff up and make it look as if we don't give a shit about our people, then of course people look at us as whatever. Yeah, we enjoy the culture, we enjoy having fun with this stuff, but deep down we think you are nothing. You are animals, savages, violent, dangerous people. So we got to pay attention to who controls this stuff, and it's not black people. As I said before, we don't control the hip hop industry. We don't control the FCC, who regulates what we see and hear. We don't control this stuff. So the stuff that you really disagree with black people about, or what you hate black people for, was given to you by your own government, was pushed on you by your own government. You wouldn't know about this stuff if they didn't make it known to you. Why? For what? They have a responsibility as a government system, a responsibility as media, to not put out something that's basically going to cause division amongst the people. The people are supposed to be united, plain and simple. The system is supposed to keep the people united, but clearly they want to divide us. And a lot of people have fallen into that trap. How do you have a divisive president that's going on national TV and coming at sports athletes, causing division, causing what we've seen in football on Sunday? A lot of people to not salute the flag, not stand for the flag, to not even come out for the flag. I mean, think about that. Like, this is childish to me. It's stupid. It's stupid. And again, like I said, it's your preference to want to stand for that flag or not. You can't deny that black people did not die and fight for that flag. We did. But you got to understand at the same time, that whole national anthem was written during the time when black people were slaves. And it's talking about land of the free and home of the brave at a time when black people were slaves. And a lot of black people, as I put it out before, don't understand what was going on around that time and are in opposition to it. Now, me personally, I think this was done because we affected their money. You had so many people complaining about the boycott against the NFL. The seats wasn't being filled. So many people wasn't watching the NFL. I think they underestimated how many black people actually watch football. So you had this whole thing, this whole fiasco set up with Donald Trump saying what he said to basically drum up interest, to get people to talk about football again. I don't think it's a coincidence that you had all the owners agree to this so-called display against the national anthem, during the game. You had Ray Lewis talk so much against Colin Kaepernick taking a knee, and here he is, bullshit. They did this because we affected their money. And now they're trying to cover it up and make it look like, oh, because Donald Trump said something, this happened. When you get LeBron James, you get these celebrities speaking out against what Trump said, best believe it's a setup. As I said before, I don't trust none of this shit. I think it's all a setup. So you had Drew Brees, you had some other, white people saying that they think we should stand with our hand over our heart and when the national anthem is being played. And of course, I can understand how any white person would want this to be, because that flag supports what they have experienced in America. We have not experienced, we have not had the same experiences as you do in America. So that flag has not given us the experience that you have in America. So why should we stand with our hand over our heart and lie as if that flag and this government has stood for us while we, the same way we're trying to stand for it? It's crazy. Ali stood and said, I'm not going to another country to fight and kill people who has done nothing to me, for a country that is in opposition to me, a country that has not supported me, that has only oppressed me, that has not stood for anything good for black people. Why should I go and kill people who has done nothing to me for people who has done nothing for me? And we all can understand this. There is no, we are not going to sit here and get on our knees and be grateful because slavery was ended. And, we got taught this language and we was given this lifestyle and we was taught because of slavery. How we are not going to get on our knees and say thank you for that. We are a victim of circumstance, plain and simple, in a land that is rightfully ours, that is proven fact. That's a proven fact. We are the true Native Americans, plain and simple. Now, we can argue and debate about that, but I have already proven that point, and so has white scholars. So let's not even go there. But we're not going to get on our knees and just pray and be super thankful and happy because after slavery, we supposedly, got a better life or things were made better. It's bullshit. It's crazy to me how people want to be so patriotic about a country that basically steals from them daily. A country that basically caused the housing collapse and bailed out the banks and not the people. And a lot of people are, having a hard time because of what happened in 2008 still to this day. And a lot of white people are as well. So people want to they would rather create all this division and separation between us because of their racist hate for black people. They would rather stand for a symbol that's supposed to mean freedom and deny people the very definition of freedom. It's a flag. It's a stupid song. I don't care how emotional it makes you feel or how cushy or mushy you get when you hear it. It's bullshit when you pertain it to black people. We were enslaved when the man wrote it. The man owned slaves himself. We are not seeing the same shit that you get all cushy and fuzzy about when you think about that song in America. We have not experienced it. Historically, we are seeing black people killed on the news, unarmed, teenagers, kids, shot and killed by cops who happen to be white. All the time. This is what we're talking about. And it's not about making it about color. Because if it was black cops doing the same thing and it was constantly shown on the news, black cops killing, it would be the same shit. We will be protesting against the police. The fact that they're white is making it exactly what they want it to be and causing this division that they want to cause. Plain and simple. If you don't think that this is a setup, that this is all natural and it's all something that's just happening normally or naturally, this is all coincidence, then you're delusional, you're stupid. This is by design, it's a part of a plan. And they are using white people to implement this plan, to implement this agenda, to fulfill it. And a lot of these people are so stupid that they don't realize they are being used and that they have to go through the same type of shit that we have to go through as far as the laws that have been passed and the freedoms that have been taken, from us all. So again, we're going to have a lot more freedoms taken, while we sitting arguing about this stupid shit, about who stood or who kneeled, for a song and a flag. How is the white people joining arms with the black people who are doing so in protest of what's going on any different from the black people? But they're not going to point that part out. We're going to ignore all the white people that did that and continue to focus on black crime. Plain and simple. That's what they're going to do. It's not going to change. Trump ain't going to change. The whole narrative is going to be the same. It's the same thing. The only people that can change anything is the people. Plain and simple. They're going to continue to push this narrative, as I said before. As I said in the last video I made about this topic. And I don't mean to keep harping on this topic, but every time they do some shit like this, I feel like I have to explain to people a little bit more, because a lot of people get programmed quickly and get caught up in the deception of what's happening in the mainstream media that they forget that this shit is a trap. It's all bullshit. It's a good thing that happened yesterday on Sunday, where even the white players deciding to lock arms or deciding together collectively to kneel or to go in the back and not even come out for the flag. It's a good thing. It's a good gesture, but it's a distraction. It's bullshit. We shouldn't be seeing this in football. I don't want to see this shit. I want to see football. I don't give a damn about the damn flag or the song. It's bullshit. We all getting screwed by America, plain and simple. And we about to go to war. A lot of people are not going to have their homes fixed by this government. Why the hell? It's another thing. I don't understand people. And people so stupid. Watching the NFL, trying to watch football, they keep seeing these commercials about the Red Cross. Get Morgan Freeman to do a voice on the Red Cross. We can get a lot of money from white people then. What the fuck is the government system for? Why the hell are you donating money to the Red Cross and to these other organizations where we have tax dollars? We have a whole government system that's supposed to have money allocated to situations like this. So why do you give them money when you should be talking to this government saying, hey, what are you going to do? It's crazy to me. It's crazy. And it's crazy to me because, as I always say, I lived in different countries around the world. I've experienced different government systems. And this country, America, who y'all supposed to be so big on, it's supposed to be the greatest country, is fucking far behind. It's far behind. They pay 33% taxes here in Sweden. 33. Think about that. But you see the money. It's free college, free health care. There's no dirty streets. You see where the money goes. There's true rehabilitation in prison. When you go to prison here, if you do go to prison here, you get paid while you're in prison. So when you get out, you're not super homeless, and that your time goes towards true rehabilitation. If you have a mental problem, that's addressed. There's very little crime here. Very little. This is Sweden. It's a small country, not bigger than Texas. And you have mighty America that can implement these same policies, but does not. Because as I said before, it's not controlled by Americans. It's stuff you have to think about when you look at other countries, and you got to say to yourself, well, they got to know how this other country is doing it. How come we don't do it the same way? It's because they don't want to. Until you realize that these people are going to collapse this country, their whole focus is destroying this country. You can see it before your eyes. Until you realize that, we're going to keep seeing the same shit. It's going to come down to the point where it's us against them. And I hate to say it like that, but that's a fact. People don't want to let this sink in, because I'm talking about some crazy, spooky shit right now. And we have an opportunity now to fix it, to change it without any bloodshed. You know, just by people changing their mind and addressing policy. An authority figure is not supposed to, you know, put one side over another. An authority figure is supposed to make sure everybody stays united and equal. You know, so Trump doing what he done is so crazy, and he should be impeached on the grounds that he is dividing this country with his mouth. Plain and simple, his fucking rhetoric and what it's doing to the American people, what it's doing to the minds of people, and then his media that's backing it up, the media that's constantly pushing his narrative. They have to go. I'm trying to tell you, it's nothing that's going to change or get better in America until that's changed. The media is the one that is really the worst, worse than a Donald Trump. Worse, they are the worst problem in that country, is the damn media, because they control the minds of the masses of people, and they push these ideologies, and they freaking instigate racial tension in America and stupid problems that, you know, we all have to deal with. That shouldn't be a problem at all. And it's crazy. And, you know, again, it just all goes back, when people talk about solutions and what to do, it goes back to government, because they are the only ones who can do anything to make a change, to cause the change. You know, and seeing so many different countries do it the right way, and it's no problems. Again, when it's poverty, it's going to be problems. We can't even talk and deal with the kind of stuff that we seeing from the black community if there was no poverty. Even from the white community or from whatever community. If there was no poverty, it wouldn't exist, and which is why it's very low crime here, because people ain't got to worry about that stupid shit. You pay your bills every 3 months here. Every 3 months. Rent is not so high. Plain and simple. The stuff that you need, the essential things that you need to survive, is right there. It's easy for you to access. You cannot be homeless in this country, because it basically goes against everybody else. It hurts everybody else economically to have a whole system where people can just live off of welfare. I mean, that's just crazy. And not have something there to basically, you know, fix the problem of the people who are on welfare. And they have like a so-called welfare here thing, but it's not like really welfare. It's if you lose your job, you basically get money to help pay your bills, to get food, to even buy clothes until you get a job. And if you don't have a job by a certain time, they get you a job. No choice. So if you have a system like this in place, this is how you keep poverty, you know, non-existent, which will keep crime non-existent. So this is why it works here and how it could work in America. But again, you have people in power who don't want that to happen. And it's going to be real crazy to see what's going to happen next after all this so-called climate change stuff. After all these, as I said before, all these storms can continue to do their damage, and, whatever is left, what they're going to do, what they're going to change policy-wise to take away liberties and freedoms from American people. So you have a lot of racist people running around cocky and confident that the system is going to support their racism. When, as I said, you have to realize that you are being used. You are being set up, plain and simple. You're going to be just like these people here who were sentenced to 28 years for driving through a black kid's birthday party with Confederate flags and nigger, spelled out on the flag. These people thought that the system was going to protect them because they white. And they was in court crying because they got sentenced to so much time for doing something so stupid. So you got to wake up and see, what the hell going on. And some people will say, well, they was only exercising freedom of speech, but when you putting people in danger at the same time, that's different because they're black. That's a hate crime. But this is also something that we know the KKK is notoriously known for. These people, this organization is known for hanging and killing black people, yet they are allowed to exist. This is what you show when you show that flag, when you wave that Confederate flag. It's a symbol of hatred, racism, the death of black people, innocent people. So, again, your ideology and what you think about the black community is what you want to think. It's not a fact. And until you do some research and understand what's really going on, and look at the simple fact that you have black people who have been reaching out for decades, trying to get you to understand the truth. We don't have a black KKK going around trying to hinder you. There's not a black organization that can control whether your kid goes to a good school or not. We are not disturbing what you have been doing, for centuries. All black people have been doing has been trying to be successful, and move up, get educated, and do the right thing in this country. And look what we have to deal with. So, I want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch. I just wanted to do this quick video after, Sunday and seeing what's been going on. And it's a lot that's still going on, but I don't want people to let it distract them from what we've been seeing with these whole storms, what's going to be coming from this whole government system as far as new laws. Pay attention. Don't be distracted. Don't be distracted by none of this stuff. Pay attention. Look at what's going on. See what laws are being changed. A lot is going on C-SPAN that a lot of you are not seeing. Watch it. Pay attention to what they're talking about, because I see something coming and it's crazy. But thanks for taking the time to watch. See you guys next video.